If there's one question that constantly gets asked on this channel, if there's one subject that constantly comes up, it is Primarchs. And 11th edition is going to see the return of even more Primarchs. In today's video, we're going down the rumor hole, we're going down the theory hole, we're going down the wondrous hole as we talk everything about Primarch. So let's jump in and let's get waffling. Now, before we jump into 11th edition speculation, rumors, etc., all that kind of stuff, I want to focus on what's returned already. We know that Guilliman and the Lion has returned, and there's a big problem that we've had with these two Loyalist Primarchs is that they haven't met. It's simply one of the biggest storylines that Games Workshop hasn't worked on at this point. And a lot of people, a part of the Imperium community, I think a part of the 40k community as a whole, want these two Loyalist Primarchs to meet and see the reaction of them two seeing each other for the first time in 10,000 years. We all want it, we all need it, but Games Workshop are just going at a snail's pace with this storyline. Are they struggling with the narrative of them two meeting? Do they want to keep them apart for the future narrative? I have absolutely no idea, but I would love them to meet ASAP. And when it comes to the Traitor Primarchs, we've had Fulgrim, we've had Angron, Mortarion, and Magnus. 4 big Primarchs belonging to the 4 big Chaos Gods. A fun fact, by the way, they haven't met each other in the current narrative. Just like the Lion and Guilliman, none of the Traitor Primarchs have like shared counsel or have like fought against each other or anything like that. It's just these Traitor Primarchs have returned and intact the Imperium in their own way. And that brings us into the subject of the next returning Primarchs. And I want to start with the end of 10th edition. We're basically a year out now before this edition ends. The 3-year cycle, 3.5-year cycle is coming into an end. 11th edition is launching in 2026, summer 2026. I'm hearing through the whispers at this moment in time. So that gives us around 10 to 12 months before this edition is out. And what normally happens is a narrative campaign, and with that narrative campaign, a lot of big characters get new models. And one of the big questions I've been asked right now is, a Primarch going to be a part of that end narrative? Now, my personal theory and what I wanted is Leman Russ to be the next Primarch to return to the Imperium. But I don't think that's going to happen because we've just had that Space Wolf refresh. I thought Leman Russ would happen with that Space Wolf refresh, but it didn't happen. Logan Grimnar basically got the big centerpiece model. So I'm thinking Games Workshop are going to basically go in that direction, having Logar as like the Wolf King now in Warhammer 40,000. I'm not saying that Leman Russ is never going to return, but I don't think he's going to return by the end of 10th edition. I know a lot of people wanted that storyline to be a thing, but it's not. When it comes to the end of this edition, I actually don't see any Primarchs returning now in 10th. I think what we're going to get is 11th edition returning Primarchs. And where we go in 11th edition, I think is very, very interesting because there's a bunch of stories already set up. One of them, of course, is Primarch. And I personally think Primarch is going to be the first Traitor Primarch, just the first Traitor Primarch released in 11th edition, because his storyline, that's mixing with Valdor. Valdor is his brand new player that has been brought to the table, and he's been name dropped so many times as he's been working with Valdor. The Iron Warriors are in force with Valdor, bringing all the doom and despair wherever Valdor goes. So it would make sense maybe for Primarch to pop up at one point and then return to real space and maybe assist Valdor in his great scheme to destroy the Imperium. And I don't know if you agree when I say this, but I think if you bring someone back like Primarch, a warband then can be refreshed like the Iron Warriors. We need more warband characters. We need more upgrade kits to put on Chaos Space Marines. Yes, the Black Legion are cool, the World Eaters are cool, the Emperor's Children, the Death Guard, the Thousand Sons, but these other warbands, the Red Corsairs, the Iron Warriors, the Alpha Legions, the Word Bearers, right? These are the spiciest warbands that need love. And when you bring Primarchs back, I definitely think that is then a chance to bring these warband / legion, heretical legions, alive again with new models along with their return Primarch. And of course, the other side of that coin is Logar. Logar is basically the main player when it comes to Chaos Primarchs. I've always seen him as basically the person who ruined the Imperium. Yes, he was the first one to fall, put the Whisper inside of Horus, and then Horus did what he did. And the timing is perfect now for Lorgar's return. The Imperium is cracked in half. There's warp energies pouring out. If there's any time to strike and do the deeds of chaos, now is the time. Also, there's a lot of narrative potential in Lorgar's return, because to Lorgar to come back and see the Imperium in the way it's in, basically living by his book of Lorgar that he first wrote all those years ago, it's ironic. It's grimdark ironic. Not only that, Guilliman's there, and Guilliman, Lorgar, there's a great feud between those Primarchs as well. We can do so much in terms of narrative, like Lorgar belittling Guilliman, Guilliman sending stuff back to Lorgar. It'd be absolutely great. Not only that, of course, the Primarch models. A Perturabo Demon Primarch model, a Lorgar Demon Primarch model. Again, potential of refreshes them for the Word Bearers and the Iron Warriors. It would just be absolutely magnificent. But that means the Imperium is definitely out of balance then, because you have 2 Loyalist Primarchs to what? 5, maybe 6 Traitor Primarchs all returned and beating down on the Imperium. That's simply not fair. So surely Games Workshop is going to bring another Loyalist Primarch, or someone else who's loyal, but he's not a Primarch, which we'll talk about in a second. And the way that Games Workshop has been going, I can definitely see a surprise Primarch coming back. I'm talking about either Jagatai Khan, Corax, or Vulcan. 3 big Primarchs that have a pretty big fan base. I would argue that Vulcan and Jagatai Khan have the most popular fan bases, and the way that Games Workshop have been just revealing new models for us, we got a new Saboden Khan, a new Forge Father Vulcan Hestan. Potentially, these Primarchs could return. In the narrative, Jagatai Khan went into the Webway, and we know there's a big narrative coming in the Webway with the Dark City. GW been asking for authors to write stuff about that. Is that pointing in that direction? Of course, Vulcan, he's a perpetual. He simply can't die. He's out there somewhere doing something in the galaxy. The last time we saw him was in the Beast Arises series. A lot of people thought he died. You can't kill Vulcan, right? He'll just come back bigger, stronger, better than ever. And of course, we all know that Corax has been hunting Lorgar in the lore, in the Eye of Terror. And if Lorgar was to come back, then I bet your bottom dollar that Corax will follow his scent back into real space, and we'll get some type of shadow demon Corax type of model, which again would probably look incredible on the tabletop. Now, there could be another option. Someone from the shadows who fight in the Emperor's name, but technically not the Imperium's name. So this could be an enemy to the Imperium, but an ally to the Emperor. How does that make sense? Well, grab your foily hat, because we're going down that hole. I'm talking about Valdor. Valdor is not dead. Valdor has his own agenda, his own loyalty to the Emperor of Mankind. And there's rumors, there's theories, there's stuff out there that Valdor may be the king in yellow, building this army of blanks, there's custodians there, there's space marines there. What in the Emperor's name is going on? Now, of course, the story where Eisenhorn, Ravener, Beckwin, all that type of stuff happens in, that's around 350 to 400 years before the return of Guilliman. But that doesn't mean that it's not going to happen, because where Valdor is, or should I say where Valdor is, we don't know if it's Valdor at this moment in time, it's basically in a hidden place, a world beneath worlds, a place where time is different from anything else. Just like when you go into the Webway, warp travel and stuff like that. So those 300 years could pass in a blink of an eye, and they'll be right back in the main narrative. Also, what you have to understand is that Games Workshop have basically delayed Pandemonium, because this is going to have some real big impacts on the lore going forward. There's speculation that this could be then running with an Amazon show and stuff like that. But what is so big that it could shake the foundations of the 40k lore? And even Dan Abnett was like, wait, Games Workshop allowing me to do this? What in the Emperor's name is going on? I think it's an exciting time now going forward in 11th edition. Yes, the rules we can talk about and all that type of stuff, but at the end of the day, Games Workshop sees Warhammer 40,000 as a business. And if you're going to take anything away from this video, it's Primarchs make money. And Games Workshop, believe it or not, I know, spoiler alert, right? Absolutely love making money. So they've got to keep making Primarchs. They've got to keep bringing them back until people get bored of them, they're sick of him, or there's basically no more Primarchs to bring back. But then I think what they'll do is start making even more like Primarch models, like Gilliman redone or something like that, like Mortarian redone, that type of stuff, because, you know, it's probably going to happen sometime soon anyway, the Gilliman models and all that type of stuff. But yes, that's my thought on 11th edition. That's who I think potentially could be coming in 11th edition. There's definitely going to be another Traitor Primarch. I've started to hear rumours about Traitor Primarchs, to be fair with you. I personally think it's going to be Perturabo, but it could be anyone. It could be Perturabo or Lorgar. Maybe Conrad Kurz? What? But there's a theory that he's in the gem, his soul's in the gem. Bring him back. In what body? Absolutely no idea. They're going to stitch his head on like Gazskull? No idea. I'll leave that speculation for you chaps in the comment section down below. Thank you for coming. Thank you for watching. I'm somewhere in Tenerife enjoying sex on the beach, right? The drink, you dirty bastards. See you in a bit. Have a great night and bye-bye.